All right, Bills fans, been a little bit since I've gotten you coverage. And I guess I'm getting older or whatever. I just can't handle the workload. I kind of got gassed out. Trying to get back to you. Wanted to get back to you guys a few weeks ago. I hate to come back now while things aren't looking good, but I do think it's a good time. I don't think the Bills are done. I think a lot of stuff that's being talked about the Bills, just they're not going to be a team that's vying for attention is crazy. I do think there's chinks in the armor. I do think there have been obvious problems with the beatdown last week against the Ravens and the loss this week. And to be frank, I think you're going to lose this week against the Jets. But I still think you guys are going to battle and probably win the East. So I want to get into the last 2 weeks' games because I'm hearing a lot of stuff, and I kind of think some of it is a reality. Some of the stuff, though, I think is wrong. I think there's a lot of fixable stuff. There's a lot of stuff that when bodies come back, you're going to see a different Bills team. So let me get into the whole deal. Obviously, people want to talk about concussion or not the concussion. Allen, he went to the protocols. They said he was okay. What does that mean? I don't know. The NFL is sketchy, somewhat inept. Do I think he was concussed? I don't know. He didn't look good. He looked like I'd seen him not look that bad after hitting in a while. But I have to just go with what is. And I don't want to spend too much time on it. Some people are saying that when he came back, he missed a lot of footballs, a sign, an indication of him being concussed. I don't think that's the case. When you look at the situations, there was that one play. It was 3rd and long after the sack. It was a cover 0. And I think he should have hit Hollins over the middle instead he threw it outside. Some people are saying it was a bad read by him. Some people are saying that it's a concussion factor. I don't know, but I'm thinking he was maybe concerned with the pressure in his face to throw that football over the middle of the field because if he doesn't throw it right, it could be a pick because the guy had under coverage. I think without the pressure, and he didn't go inside. I think he might have gone inside to Hollins. And if he didn't, certainly he should be blamed. But I think he realized, hey, this guy's on my face. We get the 3, we tie it up, and we just throw it out to the corner and out of bounds. So I think Allen was off a little bit early last week. I think he wasn't set up so well. But that's my take on that. I want to get back to this game. I think that it really comes more down to Brady. He's doing a lot of things right, in my opinion, but I think certain concepts are not linking together properly, and I think he's getting a little bit predictable. There's certain things. I mean, Coleman on a slant route wasn't looking. Allen on an out route, I forgot who it was early in the game this week. He missed him. Allen made some big plays. You guys were in position. The defense set up with 2 tremendous turnovers. But I think when you go and look at it, I think Brady's the guy in this offense that really needs to step up. Now, some of the issues that I'm seeing this week kind of tie into what we saw last week. The Ravens. Bills blew out a bunch of lesser teams, and it's my Dolphins team. I hate to say it, but it's true. It was a bad matchup. And then they went against the Ravens. And when you see 35-10, you're like, oh, man, they're not ready for big time. But this Ravens team is a brutal team for this new cycle. They've got Pierce and they've got Jones inside who are monsters. They can control that A and B gap very well to put together this thin defense, this pass defense. A lot of people like it to do, but can't really sustain because they don't have those 2 big interior guys. And then on offense, the Bills, I think, have a design flaw like the Dolphins and like the Jets. All 3 of our teams are very thin at the D tackle spot. Daquan, I think the Bills are the best of the bunch. Daquan is not back to being Daquan, big guy. Oliver, he's good, but he's small, and it doesn't play out well against teams like the Ravens that can pound it inside. Your rookie I like, but he's still a rookie. And then Rousseau's pretty big for an end, but then you got some small guys in the other end, and your linebacking position's really compromised. And that exposes them. And the Ravens are big. I forgot the guy's name. It's some kind of Samoan name. He's 6'8", 380. And then you got Ricard, the fullback, at 300. Lindenbaum is a wrestler. And when you go back and you look at the Bills, that sort of thinnish D line, the thinnish linebacking group, they were overwhelmed constantly. I mean, Daquan was the biggest guy, but a lot, they would do these wham blocks. And that right guard that the Ravens have at 380, 6'8", was matched up on it. Everybody was bigger down the line. And they were just able to bully you guys. And you couldn't get the interior run game. And I think Brady sometimes gets off schedule when that interior run game doesn't work. I think he's kind of hasn't shown himself. I thought he did. The week before, he had a great game where he was throwing to the edge. I thought he had a real nice recipe for offense, but he kind of got stuck in some stuff, and I felt like he even got more stuck this week against the Texans. So that Ravens game, it's tough playing in their house. And when you got a huge offensive line, you got Lamar who can run, and it causes problems for defense. You guys like to play that small front. You really don't have too many big bodies. Safety group's a little compromised. Linebacking group's very compromised. And so they just beat the hell out of you. You couldn't get the interior run, and Allen was chased. It just was an out-of-rhythm game. But you're on the road and against a very good team. And so it's kind of understandable. You don't want to see that blowout, but it's kind of understandable. This week, you lost by 3, and they're the home team. They're supposed to win by 3. I thought you could have this road. My man from Tommy at Mafia Sports Report, I told him, I said, this is the one I think you can win. I didn't think you were going to beat the Jets. I didn't think you were going to beat the Ravens, but I thought, actually, I kind of sort of started falling into the hype, and I didn't like what I saw from the Ravens, but I wasn't studying them. I didn't realize how they were building themselves slow with Rosengard at right tackle. I thought Lamar would choke, and you guys kind of would win. So I got a feeling in that, but I thought it was going to be close. But I did not expect them to be so physical. So I guess I got to kind of change that. But I thought that the game that you should definitely have won was this week against Texans. Because they have a weakness on the interior run game, which you saw. They can be inconsistent. Their offensive line's not super good. And I thought you guys should pull it out. And I think you should have. I think that Brady kind of screwed some stuff up. The first drive kind of came out to run. Then it was a throw to the deep left and then a throw deep right. These are very low percentage attempts, and it makes it. Allen really couldn't get in rhythm, and the run game, was pretty good for you guys. But I think he kept going to the well too much. You run the football, get a first down, and then you come back and run again, and then they would stack it up and blitz sometimes to stop that run. And then you would get off schedule, and I felt like Brady wasn't doing his best work sometimes. And I think he needs to be more on the center more too. But you run that football and you get him to bite. That's the time to get under center, run that play action, and attack the middle of the field. You guys had success somewhere in the late second and in the third quarter attacking the middle of the field, but you spend way too much time attacking the edge, naked rollouts. Obviously I like the slant, but you had to go back to it. It was open. Coleman messed that up. There was some drops. Kincaid had 2 drops, so unexpected. But when you run that football inside and you get under center and you run that play action again, and you got a guy like Kincaid or Coleman who can break over and eventually get to that as your second option in the middle, you run that play action and then you can attack the middle of the field through that play action. I felt like Brady at a certain point started falling to shotgun and loosey-goosey style. That first drive was there for you guys. The second drive was a failed drive. There were some penalties and stuff that kind of slowed you. But at the end of the first half, it was 17-3. And it was, the defense kind of gave up some big plays in the first half. They buckled it down and made their plays. But this small defense needs the run game with a consistent pass game to keep them off the field, and they need some points. And I felt like the first drive and second drive really kind of set you guys on a hard course. And Allen does his thing, but he still doesn't look comfortable. I heard he said he blamed himself a little bit for not getting on the same page with the receivers. I think it's a two-way street. I think he's forcing Kincaid a little bit too much. And again, I think you got something here. Brown had a very bad game. He got 4 pressures, 3 hits. It was a bad game for the Edges, but they kind of knew it. When I'm watching the game, it kind of knew what you were doing. Some of that was because you got off schedule. And so I think the Bills, they're going to get themselves back together. As far as on schedule, I think they're going to lose this week. It's going to be 3-3. I think people are going to say the Bills are washed up. I don't think it's going to be an easy run. I think the Jets are going to be a tough little team. I'm hoping my Dolphins get in there. I'm a little concerned about a lot of stuff with them. But this is AFC is knocking teams down. Unless you're Kansas City, you get a lot of calls. And, a lot of people talked about 13, 14 wins or 12 wins for the AFC East. I think 11 wins wins it. And you guys have a load of consistency, and you're going to get tougher, but it's going to come back down to Brady creating some simple stuff for Allen to get him in rhythm, to keep the pressure off him, and not overly rely on these interior runs. Because a good team, even if they don't have a great interior D-line, they can blitz you when they know what you're doing. You've got to keep the suspense or the unknown on the table. So I think it's going to come down to Brady. I think he's done the right thing from a schematic standpoint, from a philosophy standpoint. He's shown a little ability to be a good OC as far as dialing up the right things. I guess it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. He was tacking the edges early, opened it up, and you guys had a very easy game. But he needs to grow a little bit. I feel like he goes to the well a little too much. And for the first time, I'm not sure about last week, I felt like he went back to Allen, save us, kind of what Dorsey and Dable did. And that concerned me a little bit because Allen's not looking as confident as he used to. And these hits are piling up. Whether he got a concussion or not, it was a heavy hit. He's got an ankle issue. He's got a hand issue. And this stuff is going to compile and it's going to make it a little bit harder on him. I think you got to get some creativity out of you. I think the under center stuff and passing out of it will help you. Thank you guys for stopping by. Curtis saying, be well. I would say go Fins, but you guys are Bills fans. Good luck, guys, this week. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.